now you should be able to hear me. I'm going to have to mute something here. I've got myself pulled up over here. Anyway, welcome in, and this is kind of out of our bailiwick a little bit. I've got to turn some lights on, guys, so I can see. Out of our bailiwick just a little bit, and we're going to start a podcast. I like talking, as if you're one of my friends, you know this already. We like talking, and there's a lot of issues that just kind of rubbing us wrong right now. So we're going to talk about it. I guess I should warn you. I guess we should tell you kind of where we stand on a few things. Y'all hear me talking to myself in the background? Hey, give me just a minute. I'll fix that. And I haven't streamed for a minute or two, so I know there's going to be some disorganization and craziness, but that's okay. We are fully expecting that, and we're fine with that. We are going to just do what we got to do. I do have an outline. I do have an intent. I'm going to try to do this daily, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But I got to update you on the world as it stands in Tony's world. I have got to figure out where I'm talking to myself at. Mute. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to figure out where my pretty self is. And it's delayed. It's probably that many feet.
Damn, son, you just
hey,
hit
Jace.
like a wow effect.
What's going on, buddy? I hope you're doing very well. Yeah, man, I've been meaning to get over there and see you, and just not have had the chance or opportunity. But as I'm talking, that's what I was fixing to talk about. Guys, my world has been busy. As you know, can y'all hear that? It is killing. I don't even have myself pulled up anywhere else. Where is myself at? I found it. Okay, as I was saying, been a busy world. As some of you know, Jason there took over the class. I had to kind of retire because of medical. Left that in good hands. Dude, it's still talking. Hey, Matthew, I see you, buddy. Yeah, give me just a second. I have got, guys, I promise you. We'll try this. If you hear myself double, I apologize. But yeah, it's been a while, Matt. That's what I was fixing to talk about. So just to give you an update on Tony's world, the busy, chaotic world. Kind of retired in November. Been busy since then. Took the holidays, and then found myself bored, as most people would know or knew I would. And we kind of started a business. My wife started a business because I am disabled and can't start my own business. But we started a computer repair business, and the Lord has blessed us. God has blessed us with that. Nothing major, no major, but we have been enough busy to keep our brain busy. And then about a month ago or so, I was working out of a morning trying to lose weight and trying to get in better shape. And I dropped a weight bar on my chest and broke 4 ribs. I still have 4 broke ribs, but I'm back where I can talk and breathe and everything like that. So, yeah, just been some craziness, man. Just been some craziness. That's the only way for me to say it. And it's just been nutso, man. It's just been nutso, and we have got past that. Thank goodness. Dadgummit, dude. I got stuff going on here. I've tried to get past that. Yeah, man. I'm feeling much better. I couldn't even sleep at night, Jason, all that. So it's just been kind of crazy. So in amongst all that, I've had a chance to slow down and kind of watch news and a lot of stuff, man. One thing that I've always had as an opinion, and I've never been able to really share my opinion because of my jobs and so forth. So, I've kind of decided, well, I'm going to just share my dadgum opinion. And I see a lot of other people doing it, and I got a better opinion than most of them do, as they say. But so we're going to share some opinions here. Like it or not, hopefully we don't offend anybody, but really it's my opinion, so it doesn't much matter. And so a couple things that I want to get out of the way up front. We're going to try to stream daily. With news, it's kind of news and stuff, sports or whatever that's kind of tickled our fancy in the last 24 hours, so to say. And it's until we will do, I'm going to do, I may talk about IT. I may talk about gaming. I may talk about sports. I don't know. I just want to talk. And there's a lot out there. Today's agenda is a lot of political because there's some things that are just rubbing me wrong. And we're going to talk about that. So we shall see. But what I wish to tell you is that historically, I've probably historically voted Republican. However, I will say that a lot of my Republican views in the past are changed lately, and we're going to talk about that some. There's enough bashing to go around. Trust me, there's enough bashing for me to go around today on one side or the other side. I promise you of that. And we'll cover that down the road. And if you got opinions on stuff, please feel free. Later down the road, I'm going to have the ability for you to call and we'll talk on air. I'm working on that right now. I think I've just about got it set up. I think that'll be really cool to hear from some of y'all. And we're going to do it free. It'll be some way free. It'll be, we're going to work it out. The other thing, I'm trying to get all my creator studios back open. The other thing I want to say is that there will be a gospel back, a Christian back theme to just about everything I'm going to say. And if that offends you, I'm sorry, but I base my beliefs on the Bible. And as the pastor said the other day at church, if it don't wash out by the Bible, then it probably isn't, in my beliefs, it isn't factual. So that's where we stand, and that's what we're going to do. So that's kind of how I'm at. That's kind of, and if you hear me talking again, I'm going to mute myself. That's kind of my theories. Guys, I will ask you, if you're watching this like Jason did just a minute ago, hit that like button on Facebook. If you're watching me on YouTube, please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe and hit the thumbs up with a like. And I'd appreciate that so very, very, very much. And I think we have that. I think we've got everything kind of covered. So let's kind of hit our first topic. So look, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but today they announced, confirmed, whatever you want to call it, President Biden and Vladimir Putin are going to have a meeting, live in person meeting. Excuse me. Now, why do I find that funny? Because just recently, this morning or yesterday, the Biden administration has come out and said that Putin had no knowledge of the hacking with the pipeline in the South. Now, hold up. Let's ponder this a minute. President Putin was a very knowledgeable KGB agent. The best I know, and the best this hillbilly right here understands, is KGB agents are kind of top quality, and they're trained to lie, and they're not going to tell you the truth. And I can't imagine Putin. Hey, Joe, this is Putin. Yep, I had something to do with it. What are you going to do about it? I just can't imagine that conversation going down. So I find it ironic. The news and the specs on their meeting is going to be, I think, June 16th. I expect to be June 16th. And it's going to be in Geneva. Now, just as a off the wall, what the heck happens in Geneva that everybody wants to go to Geneva and have all these meetings? I digress, because I'm sure it's a beautiful place. I've never been to Geneva. And the intent of this meeting is to manage the relationship between the two and, I guess, make a better relationship there. So we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. The next thing is what they're going to discuss. Now, I find some of these interesting. Their intent for them to discuss is Iran, North Korea's nuclear capabilities, Syria, the Arctic, because that iceberg floating has a lot to do with North Korea's capabilities. Hello? Not for this guy. And strategic stability, arms control, climate change, and COVID-19, and much more. A couple of those go together, and a couple of those don't make any sense. You know, because I really want them to take a little bit of time and discuss Iran and North Korea's nuclear capability. But I really would like for them to focus on climate change and all that. All right, now listen, guys. Let's just start it. He'll be I enjoy the woods and outdoor, but I'm over climate change, and I'm over all this talk about saving the trees and saving all that. I got it. There is a problem. Pollution and all that's a problem. I just don't think it should be the topic that our president talks about with Russia president. Now, that's my 2 cents. I may be way out here, way out in left field, but that's Tony's 2 cents. And let me clarify something else, because I know somebody's going to bash me at some point in time. I did say our president. Let me clarify that. I told you earlier that I primarily voted Republican. We're not going to go into much more than that, but I will say it does not matter who the president is. And we will get on a tangent, I'm sure, later on about January 6th and all that. I'm sure that I'll get into that tangent. But the United States voters, the voters of America, elected Joe Biden. He won the presidential election. That's irrelevant to who I voted for. He won. So I've told this story to many friends, and I said this a lot. I don't care who our president is. I really don't. I vote because I believe who's going to do the job. If that person does not win, I am going to support the guy or gal who is in that position. I promise you, man. I promise you, I'm going to support. Now, some of that's my military background, but some of that is, it's like flying. And I tell this story a lot. I've told this story a lot. If I get on an airplane That airplane, hypothetically, let's say, is a American Airlines aircraft. And then personally, I don't like American Airlines. And I'm saying hypothetical here because I really don't care what airlines I fly on. I'm not that big a deal. But for my story here, if I get on that airlines and that aircraft and it's American, but I wanted to fly on Delta because they're my favorite, hypothetically. When they take that aircraft off, I want it to be the best pilot in the world. I don't care if his little badge says American, Delta, United. I don't care. While I'm sitting in that seat and I'm 10,000 feet, I want him to be the best dadgum pilot he can be. That is my take on the president right now, or in any president in general. Whomever sits in that job for those 4 or 8 years, I want them to be the best dadgum president we've ever had. Right? Whether I agree with his political party, I want them to do things that benefit me and my family for those 4 years. That's simple truth. So for the next 4 years, he is our president. Whether you like it or you don't like it, he's our president. Whether you believe the conspiracy theorist or whatever the case that say the Vit wrote, it does not matter. For the next, for the next 3.5 years now, he's our president, guys. So deal with it. Get over it. Okay, let's move on. Hang on just a minute. Just a swore. Guys, as I was doing my research for topics I want to talk about this, I came across this word. And I'm going to read you 2 quotes. Russian Army ad compared to woke U.S. version. Next comment, next headline. Teacher unions push woke leftist policies in schools. Okay. So, let's talk about just a minute. What's a woke? What the heck is woke? Who sits at home or in some office with a suit and a tie on and says, we're going to use the term woke today? What the heck is a woke? Well, I had to go look it up. According to Webster's, woke is an adjective. It means alert to injustice in society, especially racism. There are only 500 or 600 other words that somebody could use besides woke. That's my soapbox. That's the way I see it, as they say. Woke. Are you woke? Yeah, I got plenty of sleep last night. I'm wide awoke. That's what we'd say up here in the South or in Tennessee. I'm wide awoke. Woke don't mean all that other stuff. It means my eyes is open. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to do something today. Woke. There you go, guys. Woke. In case you was wondering about the definition. All right. Here we go. Some of y'all's favorite topic. Let's talk about Nancy Pelosi. And we're really not going to talk about Nancy Pelosi. We're going to talk about her in relationship to something. So, and once I make this next statement, some of y'all are going to go like, I know what Tony's talking about. But Nancy Pelosi continued the mask mandate for Congress. My understanding, the best I could read. And she wanted the Congress, when in session, basically to continue to wear their mask. I have a lot of thoughts on that. But we'll get to those. Well, no, we won't. Let's just get to them now. Why? Oh, Nancy. Why are you making us wear a mask in Congress? Now, I'm not a congressman and I don't sit in Congress. But to my understanding, like 90% of congressmen and congresswomen have had their COVID vaccine. The CDC now says that if I have a vaccine, which I do, I took my vaccine, that I can go to a football game and essentially be safe. And I'm fine with that. I now can go to Kroger, get my groceries, don't have to wear a mask because I have my vaccine. So, my dear Nancy, why does Congress have to have a mask still if they've been vaccinated? Or is the point is they've not been vaccinated? And all of them up there are just being hypocritical and telling us to get vaccinated, encourage us to get vaccinated, but they've not ever been vaccinated. The things that make you go, My belief is they're crazy. Not literally, but if you have your vaccine, why do you need it in Congress? You had vaccines. You've told us to take vaccines. Most of us have taken our vaccinations. But you want to mandate to Congress. Okay, well, that's my high horse on that. But irrelevant of everything I just said, she, Nancy Pelosi, is the current leader of the House of Representatives. True statement, whether you like it or not. She is the leader of the House of Representatives. She's not only the majority leader, she is the leader of the House of Representatives. And if we don't like that, we need to get out and vote in 2022 and get more Republicans in there, and somebody else can. If you don't like it, if you're happy, then you vote for Nancy Pelosi and her and the Democrats again. That's your choice. But what I'm going to say is that she's the boss. Now, I'm not. I guess it's like this. I've had a lot of great jobs. I've worked in a lot of great places. And everywhere I worked, I had a boss. I had a boss. And sometimes I was the boss of some people, but not the big boss. Y'all know what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all must have had a team or something. And I'll give you an example. When I worked in my previous job at TCAT Jacksboro, great place. You'll never hear me say nothing bad about that place. But Debbie Petrie was our president. The campus president. Debbie Petrie said, wear a mask. That's all I needed to know. She's the boss. She is in charge. So I wore my mask. Nancy Pelosi makes those decisions for the House of Representatives right now. Good, bad, and indifferent. So wear your daggum mask. Wear your mask. And there are still places where I wear my mask, even though I have a vaccination. People, wear your mask if you need to. However, one of my least favorite members of the House of Representatives, Miss Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, has compared the mask mandate that the U.S. House has on the floor to Nazi Germany and the torture and torment that Nazi Germany put on the Jews. Listen to me. Marjorie, I wish I could talk to you. You have lost your mind. That's my opinion. Wearing a mask is not even close to the torture the Jews went through in Nazi Germany. That is a ridiculous comparison. And quite honestly, it makes me think you're losing your mind. Now, Miss Representative Green is kind of far right, I guess. And I understand she has some very drastic and different views. But there comes a point in time where you take it too far. Now, my opinion is Miss Green has taken this one too far. Now, if you support Marjorie Taylor Greene, that is your prerogative. I do not. I don't think she is qualified. I don't think she has the ability to legislate at the House of Representatives. My opinion. She's Republican and claims to be Republican. But if you look on your computer, and I'm going to pull this up, I didn't yet. If you do any search on the GOP's views, or beliefs, I think that she would not compare very well. I think that she's got and I don't know much about her association or affiliation with QAnon. I will admit that. But dadgum, to compare wearing a COVID mask to the torture and torment that Jews received in Nazi Germany is ridiculous. Marjorie Taylor, you got to wake up. Now, here's where it gets worse. Whoever's on her staff needs a good shaking as well. Okay, guys, hang on. I've got to get water. My throat's going dry because I'm tore up about it. So whoever's on her staff has failed her. And let me tell you why. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene made these comments. Many of her, I shouldn't say many, some of her Republican allies have commented in disagreements. There's several organizations have commented how offensive and stuff it is. So instead of considering and I don't want to say rebuking her statements, she didn't back down. She didn't apologize. Here's what she said, folks. She didn't back down. She didn't apologize. Here's what she said, folks. Okay, now wait. Let's just wait a minute. Nobody asked Marjorie to divulge anything about her HIPAA rights. Okay, now wait. Let's just wait a minute. They simply said that when you're on the floor of Congress, you're going to wear a mask to divulge anything about her HIPAA rights. Am I missing something? Guys, if I'm missing something, let me know. That when you're on the floor of Congress, you're going to wear a mask. Am I missing something? Guys, if I'm missing something, let me know. So, my dogs are excited. You're comparing What happened to you? Overbearing mask mandates to thousands and millions of people dying. Come on. You're comparing what happened to you? Overbearing mask mandates to thousands and millions of people dying. Marjorie, come on. They said, do you understand how some would feel about your comments? Marjorie, come on. Listen. They said, do you understand how some would feel about your comments? Marjorie, come on. Listen. Do you understand how some would feel about your comments? Listen. They just said wear the mask on the floor of Congress. That was off of Yahoo News for those of you who are like, where'd Tony pull that? They just said wear a mask on the on the floor of the Congress. That's all this is about. But this lady is now saying that it's like the Holocaust. She has, I am not Jewish, but I'm offended. Wow. It's crazy. It's ludicrous. It is ludicrous, people. You see when I said I have a lot to talk about? This is just a second topic. I've got 3 pages of stuff I want to talk about. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to try to keep this around 2 hours, but crazy. Crazy. Wearing a mask is not like Nazi Germany. I don't care who you are. I'm not done with Marjorie. So I'm going to look at another video of her on the floor of Congress. It's a YouTube video of her on the floor of Congress. MSNBC recorded. We won't go about the station, but that's who recorded this. So let's take a listen. It's a YouTube video. There she is. On the floor of Congress. Folks, notice something for me. We won't go about the station. What has she got on her face? So let's take a listen. It's a YouTube video. There she is. Folks, notice she has nothing on her face. She's not wearing a mask. What are you fussing about, Marjorie? She has nothing. So this video is about the folks who attacked not wearing a mask. What are you fussing about, Marjorie? Capitol on January 6th. And Marjorie says they're being mistreated in jail. Capitol on January 6th. And Marjorie says they're being mistreated in jail. Marjorie, when people are criminals and they do things they should not do, we have them in solitary confinement. There are more than just the guys that you're talking about in solitary confinement. We have them in solitary confinement. There's murderers and people who have committed drug sales and stuff. Solitary confinement. It's not just the rioters. There's murderers and now listen to these questions. We're gonna pause after these questions because these questions kind of chat my backside, and some of y'all are gonna disagree with me. Now listen to these questions. We're gonna pause after these questions because these questions kind of chat my backside. And some of y'all going to who placed the pipes? Good question. Good question, Marjorie. Let's do some investigative work and figure it out. Who placed the pipes? Good question. Good question, Marjorie. Let's do some investigative work and figure it out. Okay, now listen. Military guy. I'm a military guy. The President of the United States of America does not get a request denied. I'm a military guy. The President if Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Ronald Reagan, any of them any of those folks as the President of the United States makes a request, it will be answered and it will be filled. Bill Clinton, George Bush. So if somebody, any of those folks is the President of the United States, I want to know who told the president. It will be answered. No, you're not getting the truth. Even though you say the Capitol's at threat, the Capitol's in danger, we're not going to give you the truth, Mr. President. Now, I think the argument is that they were going to use Capitol Police and all that. I think that that's a bogus argument. If the President of the United States requested troops and somebody denied it, let's have their head now. And that's not me being violent. That's just a figure of speech. Let's find out who did that, and let's make them answer for those challenges. And that's not me being violent. That's just a figure of speech. Let's find out who did that, and let's make them. That's not a question, Marjorie. Those challenges. That's not a question. Ashley Babbitt was killed by the Secret Service agent who was protecting senators on the Senate floor. That's not a question. Ashley Babbitt was killed. I don't understand the question. Who was protecting senators on the Senate floor? Ashley Babbitt was killed. I don't understand the question. Who was protecting Richly, I don't know about that, but I'll hear you. I feel you. Richly, I don't know about that, but I'll hear you. Okay, so back to when will the witch hunt end? I do not disagree with that statement. At some point in time, legislators, news media who are biased, depending on which side of the table you fall on, they are biased. That's just the facts. We have got to let Donald Trump go. Now, the argument, he's going to put himself in the scene. I've seen a lot of messages. If y'all think that Donald Trump is going to quit tweeting, or he can't tweet no more, but if you think he's not going to have his blog and he's not going to put his opinion out there and he's not going to say anything out loud, y'all are foolish too. Because Donald is going to be in the news. It's a bottom line. Donald is going to be in the news. That's his personality. He always has been, always will be. Okay? So, let him go, people. Let Donald Trump go. Let's worry about what's happening today in America. Goes back to my aircraft theory. If Joe Biden's flying this plane, let's hope he does it better than anybody else so we don't crash and burn in the next 4 years. If you don't like how he flies the plane, dadgummit, go vote for somebody else. I mean, it's just that simple. It ain't that hard. It's not that complicated. I promise you, it's not that complicated. Okay. I'm off my Marjorie Trump. Well, no, I'm not. Let me tell you another thing else. Let me tell you else who should be answering for some questions. McCarthy, the minority leader, the Republican minority leader, Representative McCarthy, hasn't said a word. Hasn't said a word. To my knowledge, unless he said it in the next last hour, I haven't seen it. So we've got to have consensus. Let's sum it up. Let's close out this section on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Representative Greene, with all due respect, if you're comparing wearing a mask to what is going on what happened in Nazi Germany to the Jews, you have lost your mind. Facts. My opinion, though. I applaud you for supporting Donald Trump. I think that we each are entitled to support whomever we choose. But don't be comparing wearing a mask to Nazi Germany. Let's get real for a minute, Representative. Okay. Let me roll over here to my next notes. All right. All right, folks. This one, I'm going to probably dance on some toes. I'm being real. Secretary of State Blinken has vowed that the United States will support rebuilding of Gaza. And this is so we can have a smooth transition of peace and harmony in the area. Okay, folks, here is Tony. This is Bible based. If you don't like what I'm fixing to say and you don't believe in the Bible, I'm sorry. You need to find the Bible and read a little bit. In my Bible, it tells me that Israel's going to rise again someday. Does not matter what we do. It does not matter what Hamas does. It doesn't matter what anybody does. The nation of Israel will rise. Listen to me, the nation of Israel will rise. Now let's talk about Hamas just for a minute. People on these news channels and on all these news shows are walking around talking like Hamas is so been hurt and they're so bad. Ladies and gentlemen, Hamas is a bad terrorist organization. So one of the problems that we have right now in our country is we need to quit worrying about making sure terrorist organizations are happy and loving and hunky-dory. We better worry about supporting and defending the nation of Israel. Bottom line, we as a nation in the United States of America must support Israel. Now, I'm not saying that we must support senseless bombing and all that. And I'm not saying that it was senseless bombing. I am quite certain that Israel felt that Hamas was a threat to their nation and their society. Therefore, a retaliation was warranted and was necessary. So, let's stop all the little petty worrying about Hamas. Who was? Let's just don't forget. If you look up Hamas, and I'm gonna do this. Let's just do this. I didn't plan to do this. Wikipedia. And I'm looking here real quick. The first thing it says is Islamic resistance movement. So if you look up Islamic resistance movement, it will take you to the Wikipedia for Hamas. Hamas is the opposer, enemy, the number one threat to the nation of Israel. If you believe in the Bible, if you are saved and redeemed and are a child of God, Hamas is your enemy. If they're trying to destroy the nation of Israel, they are your enemy. So now our nation, the United States of America, are supporting and helping Hamas rebuild. Think about that. That's like other administrations have provided weapons and I have no idea what that's for, Sean, but okay. But Hamas is an opposer of Israel. Israel has always been, no worries, Sean. I like the comment, brother. Hamas has always been an opposer to Israel. Israel is an ally of the United States. But now our administration is going to help our opposer rebuild. Makes no sense, people. It makes absolutely zero sense. Wake up. This is crazy. This is crazy. And the Biden administration needs to let it be known. If you oppose it, you need to let your senators and congressmen. The problem is we got too many people who don't oppose that. We got too many people who are just happy with that. Ugh. That don't make any sense, guys. It don't make any sense. Just don't make sense to me. Okay, moving on to my next soapbox. Not really. And listen, if you're out there and you take what I'm fixing to say wrong, then you do not know me very well. That I'm just going to be real. This next one could get dicey, but it shouldn't be. But I know how people are. And some folks are going to take this the wrong way. And if you have a problem with this next one I'm going over, shoot me an email or shoot me a message, because guess what? I can show you where it's not what you're thinking. 1 year ago today, 1 year, George Floyd took his last breath of air. Now, the headlines that I'm reading, that I saw this in, reads this way. 1 year ago, George Floyd took his last breath under the knee of a white police officer. First of all, that is irrelevant. The color of the police officer's skin. That is an example of media trying to stir the pot. They're trying to stir the pot. We don't need to stir the pot. There's enough craziness in the world without us stirring it up. The media is stirring it up. It's nuts. Don't stir the pot. Doesn't matter if he white, purple, black, blue, whatever. He was a police officer. That was 1 year ago. In that 1 year, we have seen a lot of craziness. We've also seen a trial. The man who murdered George Floyd, and I have seen the videos. I watched almost the entire trial. Yes, he was murdered. I'm not justifying anything. He was murdered by a police officer. And now he's going to pay his time. They can appeal all they want to. It doesn't matter. He was murdered. But here's where my problem is. Why do we keep stirring it up? The rioting, all the craziness, all the damage, all the destruction is because social media and news outlets continue to stir it up so they'll have another story. And they'll have another story. But I am going to stir the pot just a little bit. I have a problem with Joe Biden, our president, inviting the family of George Floyd to the White House. Now let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I have a problem with this. Because the fact that George Floyd was murdered is a shame. However, since George Floyd's death, let me restate that. I re-looked it up. Since President Biden took office in January 20th, if I'm not mistaken, there have been 134 police officers killed in the line of duty. Okay, so now I know you want to say, wow, it's the police officers. We don't want to talk about them. Okay, cool. Let's throw the police officers out. Let's ignore that fact. There have been 10 firefighters killed in the line of duty. 10 firefighters killed in the line of duty. 10 gentlemen and ladies or gentlemen who run into a burning building to try to save you, me, or one of our family members. 10. Now, I looked on as many web pages as I could find. I looked on the calendar, the White House calendar. I went back and looked, and let's just be real, folks. I even looked some last year, and Illustrious Potentate. That's a Ray Stevens song, guys. President Trump was just as guilty. But since January, do you want to know how many of those firefighters' families have been invited to the White House or even called? I can't find a single instance. Cannot find one instance of a firefighter's family being called from the White House. However, because George Floyd's death sparked via social media and via news outlets, because that death caused rioting and unrest, he has somehow became a hero. Now listen to me, folks. George Floyd's death was tragic, senseless, and unnecessary. I will guarantee you that I can say those firefighters' death was unnecessary. Something to think about. Now, I couldn't even find any statistical data for the number of teachers, the number of nurses, and the number of doctors who have died since January. Some would be in the line of duty. I'm sure that there would be nurses and doctors whose death would have been in the line of duty, but not many. But I couldn't find nothing about it. So that would be the reason why I have a problem with the Biden administration hosting George Floyd's family. Now, I think and I believe that this will start a very bad precedent. That is my opinion. And I don't know that we want to travel down that road with the precedent that it's starting. So let's take away just a minute the death of all those firefighters, all those police officers, nurses, teachers, doctors, and many, many more folks who are heroes, in my opinion. Let's forget about those. Let's talk about the killing and murder of minorities, Caucasians, whatever the case may be. Since then, this weekend, 19 deaths in major cities. Nobody's talking about that, to my knowledge. What are we talking about those for? Maybe what we need to look at is this crazy notion of defunding the police. You see, if we defund the police, and this is already happening. I watched this morning on one of the talk shows or one of the news shows that they were interviewing a police officer, former Minnesota police officer, and he resigned. He quit, left, went and got a job somewhere else. And they were asking him why. Why did he quit? Why did he leave Minnesota? And he said because he could not do his job. Listen to me, folks. When we get into a state or to a place that our police officers cannot do their job because they are worried about the result and how they handle the situation, we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. Our families are no longer safe in our communities. If our police officers are afraid to police because they're afraid of how they handle it will be misconstrued as racism or anything else, we're in trouble. So what we need to be doing is taking money. Instead of defunding the police, we need to fund the police more so they can have better training, better equipment, and be trained to be aware of situational awareness. Right? I don't think I'm too far off on that. And I hope I'm not too far off on that. Also, as I was watching the news this morning, the governor of Texas was on there. And I haven't got to dig in this one because this was right before I started streaming. I haven't got to dig too much into it, but I'm going to. And it might be a topic we talk about tomorrow. But he was talking about how, I believe it was Austin, Texas, was defunding their police. I didn't know this. I was unaware that Austin, Texas defunded the police. I'm going to research that to ensure that that's correct information. So don't hold me to that. But he said to the reporter that because they defunded the police, that the state was going to quit funding the city. Okay. So one of the things my mother said to me long ago, God rest her soul, was 2 wrongs do not make a right. If you defund the city, how are firemen, how are the emergency responders, how are water resources, how are sewage resources, and they're going to operate effectively if there's no funding for those to do so? Just a thought. I'm going to look more into that as the night goes by and as tomorrow comes. Just a thought, folks. I don't think by defunding a city that you're going to resolve the defunding of the police problem. And I'm not certain, and trust me, I'm not real certain that Austin City had defunded the police. I've got to do some research on that. Okay. Moving on. COVID-19. Dadgummit. I meant to pull up COVID-19 statistics from the CDC today. Anyway, so did anybody out there see this report now that is coming up that says that in Wuhan, China, in one of their state-run labs, folks were sick with COVID prior to, I think, November, when the first cases were reported. I don't see anybody in this room who's shocked. So what you're telling me is, what you're saying is that it's possible that China had been working or creating this virus, and it didn't happen with some guy bit a bat's head off or whatever they're trying to say. And it may have actually been created in a state-run lab. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, back long ago, about this time last year, let me see here. Well, about this time last year, there was this guy who was in charge of running the greatest country in the free world. And he called it the China vaccine. Just interesting. Interesting. I would never fathom that the COVID vaccine, but the COVID pandemic disease had been created in a lab in Wuhan. Isn't it funny how things seem to go together? On a brighter note,
damn, son,
get your vaccine.
Just hit with the wow effect.
It doesn't matter where it was created. It doesn't matter how it's a thing. And we all need to get our daggum vaccine. I got mine. I was sick as a dog for 24 hours. But guess what? I'm fine. Now, I could go on a tangent right here. I watched some folks the other night about how they're putting little microchips. Man, okay. When I joined the military to serve this country, not a militia and not a group of Q people who want to try to run the world who are not ever been in the military. I digress. They gave me 150 gazillion shots, it seemed like. You know how many of those I said, what is that? None. Said I had to have them. Every year, folks, I get a flu shot. Every other year, I get a pneumonia shot. You know why? Because when I go to the VA doctor, they say I got to have it. I ain't died yet. I don't have a third eye. If anybody's tracking me, they're not doing a good job because I can't figure out where I'm at half the time myself. Folks, get real. Nobody, you've been watching too many shows and stuff if you think they're going to put a microchip in your arm. My Bible don't say nothing about it. Y'all better be worried about Israel instead of microchips in your arm. Don't be attacking my capital. That's my capital. What are you going to do when you get in the capital? What are they going to do? Going to start killing people? Boy, if you were killing representatives and something like that, what would Marjorie be fussing about now? Oh, they're fixing to put somebody to death. Oh, Jesus. You committed a crime. You should be in jail. And anybody associated with that thing. I digress. I'm going to get back on that subject again. All right. Moving on. Critical race theory. I had to look it up today. I'm not going to talk long about it. It's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. People who I don't understand. Take them understand. Listen, folks. I got a plan for you. Don't worry about teaching critical race theory. Worry about teaching the Bible in school. Now, you can call me a Bible thumper all you want to. But let's teach history. Let's teach the bad things we've done as a country. Let's teach the good things we've done as a country. Critical race theory in my butt. Teach history. When I went to school here in Tennessee, when I was in 7th grade, we learned Tennessee history. Miss Chitwood's class. Remember to this day. I didn't know we had so many dadgum rivers in Tennessee, or hills and mountains that were named. Maybe you should teach history. Just history. We don't got to teach race theory. I'll tell you another thing we need to teach. We need to teach about what they call it, not economics. We need to teach civil. Some of y'all don't understand how elections work. Some of y'all don't understand how to make changes. I seen a guy last night on one of the YouTube on one of the little channels there. Said, we were born as fighters in this country. No, I was born as a child of the God. Want to get down to it, that wasn't nothing about fighting. The fighting had done been done. Whew. Y'all get me tore up now. We need to worry about teaching history, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. We don't need to worry about teaching critical race theory. Teach a class on how politics work and how a bill's passed. Remember that? Schoolhouse Rock, bring it back. Teach how laws made. Teach how elections and electoral colleges work. If you lose the electoral college, you are no longer president. Whether you like it or not. If I'm a Republican, I don't care. It doesn't matter if I'm a Democrat. It doesn't matter. It works the same way. You have got to campaign to get enough electoral votes to be elected as President of the United States. If you want to make a change to something in D.C., you don't storm up a Capitol and start shooting and throwing stuff. There is a right way and a wrong way to do it. All right. Let's talk about the good stuff now. Stuff that made me happy over the weekend. Here's one for you. Did y'all read? Everybody read and said, hey, the sales of lipstick are going up because we're not wearing masks anymore. That makes sense. My wife wore a mask when she wore her mask had more makeup in it. I always asked her, honey, why are you wearing makeup? Nobody can see it. Just make up this. So it makes complete sense to me that wearing a mask, no mask, makes lipstick sales go up. But here's the next one for you. You figure this one out. They reported this weekend that since the mask mandates are over, the sales of deodorant and toothpaste have risen. Okay, people, listen to me. I'm going to come close. Just because you wear a mask, you still have to wear deodorant. Got it. If that don't tickle you fancy, because people taking their mask off, they're going to put deodorant on now. Maybe it's because we're getting back. I tell you right now, people will say, that's because people are getting out and about. Well, I don't care. In my house, we was all locked in for some time. Everybody wearing deodorant. They run their stinky little tail by me. Hey, go back in and take a shower. Put some deodorant on. Common sense, people. Common sense. All right, on to the next one. All right, here you go. You ready for this one? Things that make you scratch your head. The headline says, I'm reading the headline for you. 21 runners dead after extreme weather hits Chinese ultramarathon. Now, folks, let's talk about it a minute. Let's talk about this. We're going to talk about it. Y'all know what an ultramarathon is? Most of y'all do. An ultramarathon of these races can be 50, 60, 100, 200 miles, and they usually go over some pretty crazy terrain. And to be honest with you, they're usually crazy. They're usually crazy races. But there's a but. If you're running an ultra marathon, I gotta take that off. It's starting to hit. Okay, let me approach this a different way. When I was in the military and I was several pounds lighter and I lived in Hawaii, I ran 5 marathons. I couldn't run down to the refrigerator right now if I had to, probably, but I ran 5 marathons. Before every one of those marathons, I knew what the weather was. I knew where I was going. I knew how long I wanted to take, but I knew what the weather was. So how do these professionals get caught off guard? Because in the brief that I see, in the news brief, it says they had T-shirts and shorts on. They're running 62 mountain marathon race, 62-mile mountain race in Gansu province. And they got caught in freezing rain, hail, and high wind. Now, folks, I don't regret. I have sympathy for those people who die because that's bad. But it also makes me question and scratch my head just a little bit. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Because you got to know some way, somehow, it's going to rain. It's going to be freezing rain, hail and high wind. Freezing rain does not occur when you're running at 60 degrees. I promise you. You can't do it. It's got to be cold. So what we all doing in t-shirts and shorts? Go look at the Boston Marathon. When they run the Boston Marathon, they wear long sleeves. Some of them wearing little tight things. And they're arguably, there's something off with them. I got it. To run an ultra marathon, first of all, you got to be a little crazy. But daggone, people, put some clothes on so you don't die. Put some clothes on so you don't die. All right. Moving on. I meant to have this video. I'm ill prepared. I'm going to show you a video. Let me make sure this is the right one. Put my headphones on because I could hear. But anyway, have y'all seen this? Simone Biles. Probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, gymnast to ever perform in the sport. This young lady keeps doing it. Now let's see. See if this is the Marchenko thing, and then I'll play it for you if it is. But now she done something. She just did a vault. That's something you run. Bang, bang. That men have only done in the past. I believe this is it. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Hang on, let me pause that. Pause that, bring it back here. Make it big screen for you. Get you over to it. All right. Pause that, bring it back here. Now watch this. Big screen for you. Get you over to it. She was practicing this, and they were like, "Hey, Joe, thank you." I didn't see that, didn't hear it. Now watch this. Big screen for you. Get you over to it. Watch this. She was practicing this, and they were like, "Hey, Joe, thank you." Isn't that crazy? Now watch this. Watch this. She was practicing this, and they were like, "Hey, Joe, thank you." Isn't that crazy? Y'all see that? I was hoping they show it slow mo. And they gonna show it slow mo. That's crazy. Two flippies. I was hoping they show it slow mo. In a pocky thing. What? They gonna show it slow mo. Whoop. Whoop. That's crazy. Two flippies. In a pocky thing. What? He said 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh. What? He said 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Bruh. What? He said 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Now there's a big conversation about that. We'll stop that there. There's a big conversation about that. They're not evaluating her to vault on like a regular score. They kind of hurt her. They kind of didn't score high enough, and there's a lot of controversy about that. But it is what it is. Uh-oh. You're hearing something, I'm apologizing. But it's not fair. The young lady, and she's amazing, guys. I don't know much about I don't know much about all that. Flipping and stuff. What I do know is she's amazing. All right. one more video. We're just about done with everything I want to talk about today, which is fine. The next thing I want to talk about is my dude. And my dude would be Phil Mickelson. My man, at 50 years old, went out on the PGA Tour and literally put the hurt on some people. I'll just tell you right now, he should not have been able to do what he did. I mean, Phil's a great golfer. Daggum. Daggum. What they doing here? Trying to get the highlight video where I want it. I mean, it's daggum. All right. Hang on just a minute. I'll show you back. This is highlight. Some of these are just out, and we'll probably stop during some of these. My man Phil Mickelson. All right. Like I said, he just lit them up. This is highlight. Some of these are just out, and we'll probably stop during some of these. My man. Now, Lefty's always been a great bunker player. Here's his best shots. I hope this. That hit the pin. I mean, this is just crazy. Look at this. The wind is blowing. Everything's blowing. I hope this. Let's look at it, man. He is swinging the golf club like nobody's business. Crazy. Look at this. That ball. Everything's blowing. His brother on the bag, man. This brother was amazing this weekend. Golf club like nobody's business. Crazy. Look at this. That ball. His brother on the bag, man. This brother. It's crazy, guys. I'm just telling you. He played. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I watched every bit of it. Man, I was just impressed with it. It's crazy, guys. I'm just telling you. This is the shot. Okay, wait. I want to back this up just a hair bit and get it to the right spot. Okay. All right. I'm a golfer. In case y'all ain't know, I'm a golfer. Okay, wait. If you don't know nothing about golf, I apologize. Get it to the right spot. My man is in the bunker. The flag is right here, right behind the tree. See it right there? Woo. In case y'all ain't know, I'm a golfer. The wind's in his face. I apologize. My man is in the bunker. And poetry is just beautiful. Right behind the tree. See it right there? Woo. What's this? Zip. Wind's in his face. Folks, and poetry is just beautiful. Other than Tiger, it might be the best shot I've ever seen. Tiger's got some of the best shot I've ever seen. And Phil did this the whole tournament. This is just not, folks. This is just not that hole. It's the whole tournament. He continued and continued and continued to. The whole tournament. This is just not make shots that were just out of this world. And I'm so proud of him. I'm so continued to makes us old guys have something to look for like this. Woo, boys, watch this. And I'm so proud of him. I'm so just crazy. Here's another one. Makes us old guys have something to look for like this. Woo, that's that bunker shot on the last round that we just saved it. I mean, it just nonstop. Koepka had a good tournament, I thought. Oosthuizen had a good tournament. A lot of people had a good tournament, but I really enjoyed watching all of them. That shot right there was nuts. You're not getting much publicity on that shot, but that was nuts. Oosthuizen had a good tournament. A lot of people had a good tournament, but I really enjoyed watching all of them. Look at that. That shot right there was nuts. You're not getting much publicity on that shot, but that was nuts. Good camera shot there. That was real nice. Look at that. That was nuts. The crowd right there. The only problem that I have with that crowd right there, let me back that up just a second. The only problem I have with this, guys, is can't see it in this shot, but the only problem that I have with that crowd right there, let me back that up just a second. The only problem I have with this, guys, Brooks Koepka had just came off a knee injury and he got caught in his crown. His knee got hurt, hit a couple times, and I think that they should have done a better job of protecting him on that situation there. Just came off a knee injury and he got caught in his crown. His knee got hurt, hit a couple times, and I think that they should have done a better job. Great tournament. Like I said, on that situation. As a golf fan and more, that was just a great tournament. NBA playoffs. I haven't talked about the NBA playoffs, but they're going on now. And they got some good. Oh yeah. You can hear that. Some good stuff going to the NBA playoffs. All right, guys, one last thing we'll get off here. I'm going to try every time I do this to bring you a kind of a highlight video. But on this day, 1965, the second fight between Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston occurred. Now, I'm not a huge boxing fan. I don't know much about boxing. I'm not smart on boxing. But what I know is the greatest was Muhammad Ali. And so on this day, to celebrate his, we're going to watch Muhammad Ali, 117, knock out Sonny Liston. The greatest was Muhammad Ali. I love these old boxing videos, but watch old Ali here. Wow. To celebrate his, we're going to watch look at that, boy. Muhammad Ali. Get up. He said, get up. Knock out Sonny Come on, get up. I love these old boxing videos. Get up. Come on, son. Look at that, boy. Get up. He said, get up. Come on, son, get up. I love these old boxing videos. Get up. Come on, son. Look at that, boy. Get up. He said, get up. Come on, son, get up. Get up. Come on, son. Now, there was some controversy on the ref stopping that there. We won't go into all that nonsense. Now, there was some controversy on the ref stopping that there. We won't go into all that nonsense. Now, there was some controversy on the ref stopping that there. We won't go into all that nonsense. This is, we're going to stop that. That was the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Anyway, that's my boxing repertoire right there. Hey, guys, I appreciate you. I hope that you have enjoyed our first episode. We're going to talk about it because we're going to talk about it. You might not like what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about it. So tune back in tomorrow. We'll get a schedule set up of what we're going to do and have it better planned, better organized. But this went well. I've enjoyed it. Hour and a half of talking about news. We're going to I'm targeting about 2.5 hours. But hey, stop back by. If you join me on YouTube, hey man, hit the follow or hit the subscribe and like button. If you're on my Twitch, drop a sub, baby. If you got that Prime sub. If you're on Facebook, the like button and follow the channel. Guys, we appreciate you so very much. We love you. We prayed today that God is in your life. And we pray that you will come back and see us on the Bald Squad. I'm Tony Hamlin. We got much love for you, baby. We'll talk to you in the end.